Welcome to Golazo today. Bienvenidos. We've got an action-packed episode lined up for you, starting with the UEFA Nations League, which is quickly becoming one of the most exciting competitions in European football. If you're a fan of high-stakes matches where anything can happen, then you're in for a treat. This year's Nations League is more competitive than ever, with top teams like France, Spain, and Italy all vying for the coveted title. And it's not just about national pride. This tournament is a critical stepping stone on the road for the next World Cup. With so much on the line, every match counts, and we're here to break down what to expect as the action unfolds. The Nations League is a biennial international men's football competition played by 54 teams that are member associations of the UEFA. The first edition of the Nations League took place in 1819, and the competition is played in a league structure featuring promotion and relegation. UEFA, the governing body for European football, says the tournament was devised to minimize meaningless friendlies and give nations competitive encounters with equally ranked teams. The UEFA Nations League is a competition designed to provide more meaningful international matches for European national teams, replacing many of the traditional friendly games. The league is divided into 4 leagues based on the team's UEFA rankings. Each tier further splits into groups, and teams play home and away matches against each other. The top teams in each group from League A advance to the Nations League final, where they compete for the championship, while teams finishing at the bottom of their groups can face relegation to a lower league, while the best performing teams in lower leagues have the chance to earn promotion to higher leagues, providing motivation in higher stakes. This structure ensures competitive balance and allows teams to improve their rankings and secure spots in major tournaments such as the UEFA European Championship. The 54 participating teams were divided into 4 leagues based on the results in the last Nations League edition. But that's not all. We'll also dive into the latest from Europe's top domestic leagues, where title races are heating up and the teams are fighting tooth and nail for those crucial points. From the Premier League to La Liga to Serie A to the Bundesliga, we've got you covered. To help us break it all down, we're joined by our guest analyst, Nik Z. Nik's bringing a wealth of experience as a former host of NBC LX. I'm sure you're going to have a lot of fun with us. First of all, let's start with your jersey, man. It looks,
you like this?
Killer. I love it.
You love it?
Tell me about it.
Nicaragua.
Okay.
I told him my name was Nick, so I guess that just makes me an honorary Nicaraguan.
That's a good connection, especially.
They gave me the jersey, they gave me a passport and everything.
Man, it's a good segue. We were talking about CONCACAF last week, how well they're doing in the CONCACAF qualifiers, but looks good.
It does look good, but look, I can't take all the credit. Look at this beautiful design. Nicaragua,
matches
land
your
of
eyes,
lights
my friend.
and volcanoes, matches my eyes. It's a perfect. Maybe I should be a Nicaraguan.
All right, Nick, great to see you, man. Let's have some fun. So, Nick, let's get started because the UEFA Nations League has quickly become a fan favorite, and it's not hard to see why. With top-tier teams competing in a league format, it brings an added layer of excitement to international football. And this season, the stakes are even higher as teams now not only compete for the Nations League trophy, but also for the crucial spot in the UEFA Euro 22-24 playoffs.
That's a really good point, Francisco. So many teams vying for so many different reasons, too. I mean, let's start with Spain here, okay? We got a lot of intriguing matchups to go, but I want to start with Spain, the defending Nation League's champions. They're eager to prove that last year, 2023's win wasn't a one-off. It wasn't a fluke. They got something to prove, right? France, they got something to prove as well. They went harping back to 2018 when they won the World Cup. Italy, completely different reason. They have a lot to prove. Italian fans hold them to a very high standard. They got to prove themselves after not qualifying for the World Cup. So many top-tier teams, as you mentioned, with something completely different to prove. And we love watching these teams play.
Sure. I mean, you talk about teams, but how about the star players in this tournament? Let's go to France. But let's talk about Kylian Mbappé, the new merengue, new player for Real Madrid. He's going to be one of the great reasons why we have to watch the UEFA Nations League. Well, I know you're going to be following Group D, right? Serbia is there. There's a special reason why you're going to be watching.
Exactly. Serbia versus Spain. It's going to be tough for Serbia for obvious reasons. Lamine Yamal, who's been a revelation for both the club and the national team, as we just saw, they're still high coming out of the Euros. But for Serbia, look, I mean, they have a lot to prove, but they have less pressure on them, right? Because they're the underdog in this situation. Plus, they got Mitrovic, they got Dusan Tadic, they got some good players. I'm Serbian, so I'm going to be a little biased here. I'm going to put my money on Serbia. They have the ability to surprise and upset without that kind of pressure that Spain might have.
Well, now I know you're going to be following Group D without mentioning Denmark's also part of the group. Switzerland is part of that group. And I am sorry not to see Xherdan Shaqiri with them. He actually just left the Chicago Fire, 31 years old, recently nominated to the Ballon d'Or. They'll be facing a team. You mentioned Spain and how, playing as a team counts. This team looks like they're having fun with Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, and they can play as a unit, just like when they won the 2010 World Cup. And you know what's interesting? Nico Williams, I've been hearing a lot about Barcelona trying to steal him from Athletic Bilbao. I think he can set his mind into playing for Athletic because he says, this is where I'm at. His brother's a legend for the team. They like playing together. How do you think, he can basically focus on the tournament knowing that he knows basically where he wants to stay?
That hunger, that drive, they both have a lot to prove, and they're trying to prove that age is just a number and nothing more than that. Fun fact for you here, just to put things into perspective, the wide range of age groups that we're talking about in this tournament. Cristiano Ronaldo playing at 39. These two players, Nico and Yamal, weren't even alive when Cristiano was playing in that very famous final against Greece in the Euros. So, that just puts things into perspective, the future of football, and they need to prove that.
Was that the time when Cristiano was crying?
That one time.
Yeah.
That one and only time that he...
Exactly. And talking about more history, recently we learned about the Ballon d'Or, not including Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo for the first time. And we've been talking about Granit Xhaka. Lamine Yamal is also there. Vinicius from Real Madrid, one of the favorites. It seems like a change of the guard. First time since 2003 that neither one of these great historic players are included.
It just shows their dominance. 2 decades, 21 years, over 2 decades, the same 2 players constantly in that rotation for that nomination. It just shows the reign that they've had. And truly, I don't know, am I being too dramatic when I say it's the end of an era? Because it is in a lot of ways. And look, I'm just happy that, I was able to witness it all.
Well, you talk about the end of an era. Let's talk about the beginning of an era, because as I mentioned, I'm going for Kylian Mbappé because he's playing for Real Madrid, and that's my team. And obviously, he's a star player for France. And Kylian Mbappé, along with other guys like Jules Koundé, will be facing Belgium. The revenge, the rematch of that 2018 semifinal. That game could be decisive. Who's going to be the favorite? Who are we going to see as a top dog in the Nations League?
I have to put my money on this one in France. Belgium could come up. Belgium, very strong team. Lukaku stays, we have to make sure that he's going to bring that energy that he brought in his Napoli debut just a few days ago scoring. So can he bring that?
For whatever reason, when I saw that end of Nicaragua, I swear I was looking at a Napoli jersey.
There you whatever you want it to be. Whatever.
Let's go with another end. How about the Netherlands? A team that's used to competing for some of the best games, for some of the biggest titles when it comes to Europe. 3-time World Cup finalist Netherlands will be facing a multi-champion in Germany. That could very well be the top game in the whole competition.
Heavy hitters going head-to-head. That is going to be an amazing match to watch. And I want to ask you, if I can just zoom out here, let's just go ask you a bigger picture question about this tournament. We have now basically a World Cup, you could say, esque league going on all year long, right? We're watching these amazing matches. That's awesome. Who doesn't want to see, Mbappe play on a random Thursday? I do. But on the other hand, I have to ask you, are there any downsides potentially? Any positive, negative side effects to having this much international football at the same time as club football happening all year round? Can you see any potential downsides to that?
You know what, I think in our second segment, we're going to be talking about some teams like LAFC and Club America that I see ailing and suffering from having these type of overload, if you will. I think you could be looking at 10 extra games per player per season, talking about not calendar year, but talking about football year per se. So I think that could really affect when it comes to, then again, overload for players. We're going to get a chance to see some younger guys coming in and taking the baton, like you mentioned, Cristiano Ronaldo, for example. How much of a weight can he have? Then again, since we're seeing a lot of younger players coming, they're hungry and they're ready to go. One thing to add regarding Germany, Florian Wirtz, who was also nominated for the Ballon d'Or, will be there trying to dominate for Germany. Well, Nick, we're very excited to see what the UEFA Nations League can bring, but we're also excited about our next segment here on Golazo today. We're going to talk Major League Soccer, Liga MX, and more. Stay with us. This is Golazo Today.
What a chance it is for Adam Paxton and Victor Tingstrom to pick up their first weekly titles. Adam Paxton, well, it's been the dream debut so far for him. For Victor Tingstrom, he'll feel like this is a moment a little while coming. A place in the final up for grabs for one.
You can do it. Make that double 18 away from a place in the final.
Wesley Plaisir was beaten, knocked out by Mike Warburton in a last leg decider.
That is what they are playing for. They are playing for the trophy. They are playing for the big prize pot, and they are playing for a place in the £25,000 Champions Week.
97.
There is a point you feel that reality will surely kick in for Adam Paxton. He's here on debut. He watches the Super Series almost every single week. He was happy just to be playing in a group. This could be the leg that we talk about at the end of the night as being the one that changed the final, because Adam Paxton has just gone cold at the moment.
Bang on,
He doesn't just get two, he gets the lot.
Should take out the 16 out. If not, Mike's just behind him.
Shot on the fifth leg.
Can Paxton deliver one of the biggest moments of his career so far? He can. Double 12. What a moment that is from Adam Paxton. Mike Warburton was looking at 60 to win the match.
14.
Paxton, here's your moment. He approaches the hockey with confidence, with time, and delivers. Adam Paxton on debut. The boy, the fanboy, comes to the Super Series and wins.
Welcome back to Golazo today. I'm Francisco X Rivera, and with summer tournaments behind us, it's full speed ahead in both MLS and Liga MX as we enter the final stretch of the season. The playoff races are intense and every point matters from here on out. Today we'll break down the latest results, highlight the players making headlines, and look ahead to the crucial matches that will determine who makes the playoffs. I'm here with Nik Z, talking about not only Nicaragua and that beautiful jersey, but also about what's going on here in CONCACAF. A lot of drama here in Major League Soccer, obviously getting past Leagues Cup and also Liga MX, trying to keep pace with its own brand of excitement. So let's talk about these two leagues and how they're shaping up as we move closer to the playoffs.
Yeah. Let's start it off with the MLS. I mean, absolutely, I agree with everything you were just saying. I mean, in MLS specifically, teams that come to mind for me first and foremost, one word, Crew, Columbus, they've been on a roll, to say the least, but there's still plenty of room for surprises. We've seen a lot of late goals from them, so they're constantly keeping me on the edge of my seat. You mentioned Mexico over in the La Liga, MX, Cruz Azul making a serious case for their title, but they'll have to navigate some tough fixtures ahead as well. So again, totally unpredictable league there, especially in Mexico. So we'll have to see what happens.
I spoke to my producer. I did not want to mention what happened to America against Cruz Azul, but I guess we have to include on the show. It's a headline. So we'll talk about
cover your ears.
We'll talk about it in a second. But let's talk MLS first, because things are getting very tight. Starting in the East, you get Columbus, who's the current MLS champion. They just won Leagues Cup against LAFC as well. They're on the rise. And the way you mentioned late goals, I mean, they were up 2-1. Then New York City ties it up. Then they're back with 2 goals during injury time. These guys are really keeping their momentum going, huh?
They are. And you know why? Because they're not relying on one single player to drive them. They're young, they're hungry, they're all over the place in a good way. I know that can have a negative connotation, but that's like the first thing that comes to mind when I'm watching them. They're absolutely amazing. So look at them. They're sitting right behind Cincinnati now. They're coming up. They got that momentum behind them. That's going to be crucial.
Yeah, they're definitely dynamic. And, you know, when they lost Lucas Elarayan last year, I thought, oh, these guys might be in trouble. But the way Cucho Hernandez has been playing, bring Diego Rossi to the league. They reincorporate him to Major League Soccer, former LAFC weapon, leading scorer. Another former LAFC player, Christian Ramirez. These guys are ready to go. But once again, let's talk about momentum here in the league.
Yeah, let's do it. Miami is looking great too. They're in absolutely great form. I ask myself, you know, with Luis Suarez announcing that he's going to retire from international football. Of course, that's bad news if you're Uruguayan, you're passionate about your national team. But hey, it allows him to focus more on Miami.
Yeah, I think, you know, Inter Miami, they've been doing it without Lionel Messi. Should we add that as well?
Yeah.
So then again, you know, props to David Beckham and the way they built the roster so far. But let's switch to Liga MX. The way Cruz Azul has been dominating Liga MX, top spot, and the way they are doing it, because, when they beat America 4-1, when they're forgetting moments like losing 7-0 in 2022, that was a trashing in favor of Club America. When they're forgetting that they've lost 3 finals in 11 years, when they're forgetting that they had lost 4 consecutive times to Club America, I know you know football, you know how mental that could become. So props to Cruz Azul. It seems that they're leaving everything behind them.
It's all about what you tell yourself, what you come in with it. And I think thrashing was a very kind word to use. I can think about 18.
Paliza, we would say in Spanish.
There you go.
Okay.
We don't use that word too much in Nicaragua, but yeah.
Right. Okay.
No, I mean, you're totally right. I mean, La Liga is, not La Liga, La Liga MX is always unpredictable, and this season, obviously, no different, to say the least. Cruz Azul's, as you said, looking very strong, but hey, anything can happen, especially with so many teams still in the mix, and they're all fighting. They're fighting tooth and nail for that coveted playoff spot.
Yeah, I think this is going to get very interesting. Also, I would like to also mention the big rivalry Monterrey between Tigres and Rayados. Tigres just bringing Uriel Antuna, and Rayados bringing Lucas Ocampo, who pretty much won everything with Sevilla to Europa League titles. So plenty of matches to look at when it comes to both MLS and Liga MX. LAFC losing to Houston, and now they're going to be playing again, a game that was weather delayed a couple of months ago. LAFC just lost to the Dynamo at home, very uncharacteristic. But it seems that they might be losing some steam. Then again, due to overloads, playing so many games, you're adding the U.S. Open Cup, Leagues Cup, and now coming back to MLS.
Yeah, and you have to ask yourself, what is the cause of that loss of steam, as you said? That could be one thing. They got so much talent. It's all there. It's just a matter of making it work for them, and they're waiting for that moment. They got to find that word that we keep bringing up here, and that's momentum. That's what LAFC needs. They need to find that breakthrough moment for them.
And talking about Liga MX, Tigres now in second spot of the competition. Can they overcome San Luis? They might be able to get past Cruz Azul, getting ready for the playoffs, or as we call it in Mexico, the Liguilla. And then again, they just brought in Uriel Antuna, a guy with plenty of experience, former LA Galaxy player, and Antuna could be the perfect counterpart to Diego Lainez on the other wing. All right, even though I didn't want to do this, our producer had to push me to do it. I have to talk about Club America. Oh, don't laugh about this, okay? I know I'm suffering. I'm struggling. They've lost 3 out of the last 4 league matches. This is a team that is used to be on top, actually looking for their 3rd title in a row. No team has accomplished this since America, actually, in the mid-'80s. I think they're feeling the pressure. And their coach, André Jardinet, after the game said, "We're ashamed of this result against Cruz Azul, losing 4-1. There's many things that could be making America go in that direction, right?
Yeah, I have some reprise for you, some good news. Okay. I think it's a temporary dip. I don't think this is part of a bigger crisis. When you get down to the core of the issue, they're overplayed, they're overworked. They've played 60-plus games this season, more than other big teams out there in other leagues like Real Madrid, as well as Manchester City. They played more than those teams. And so when you get down to the core of it, they're overplayed. Yeah, they got a lot of injuries too, but those things are connected, and I think better days are ahead.
And also going back to the favorite in Major League Soccer. I mean, we have Inter Miami, we have LAFC. How about your LA Galaxy? We were probably not thinking about them losing to St. Louis last weekend. It happened, but can they get it together now?
They better. I mean, they don't have any other option. They're doing great, I mean, for what we got. But they got to put the gears in motion, and they got to get it moving. They got to do it right. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? Talking about St. Louis, and I know the LA Galaxy just brought in Marco Reus. They're at the top of the table with a 5-point difference. But at the same time, talking about St. Louis and playing devil's advocate, I called a game of theirs when we came back to action in MLS 2 weeks ago in Portland. They brought a few German players such as Hartl, Cedric Teuchert. They're looking pretty good up top. And that could be a team that might give us something different than again on the West, because they won the conference last year, overcoming teams like LAFC, like the Seattle Sounders, etc. Then they fired their coach. It seems that they're ready to get fired up and in all cylinders. So stay with us, because we're going to have more here on Golazo today. Let's talk about the Women's U20 World Cup. Mexico going for the top spot against Colombia, and the rapid fire picks only on Golazo today.
what has transpired here at the First Bank Center here in Denver, Colorado. It wasn't just a big night of fights, it was a big night of memorable moments.
Conor McGregor with us here in Denver, Colorado. Good left hand from Rockhold. Right hand, right back from Mike Perry. Now 3-0 in BKFC.
Could I get a face-off with Conor McGregor, man?
It's an incredible setup here, incredible matchmaking, incredible storytelling. Oh, you had to come here. All these fighters that step in here are warriors, and all have my respect. And I'm into this game, yeah. We'll be into this, yeah.
And we are live here in the Maverick Center here in Salt Lake City, Utah, folks. What a night. It is going to be historic indeed for BKFC 56.
Whoever's the king of violence right here, this is going to be a great fight.
Perry on the turn, getting for the left hand. Right hand from Mike Perry, double jab. Who's the king of violence? I am!
Combat fighting in its purest form, bare knuckle fighting in the city of angels.
80 seconds remaining on number one.
We've got the biggest announcement in the BKFC history we're about to make, so let's make that announcement.
What's up, Knucklemania? The notorious Conor McGregor here. Ladies and gentlemen, the huge announcement that I have for you today. Conor McGregor, myself, and McGregor Sports and Entertainment is now an owner of Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship. Welcome to the big leagues. David Feldman, baby, we did it.
He's now an owner of BKFC with us, and we're going to take this motherfucking thing all the way to the top now.
Welcome back to Golazo today. I am Francisco X Rivera. So glad that you can join us. And let's shift our focus to the next generation of soccer stars. The Women's U20 World Cup now in full swing, showcasing the future talent that could soon dominate the global stage. This tournament is not just a competition, it's a proving ground for the next wave of international superstars. After that, we'll dive into a preview of the most watched matches coming up this week and wrap up with our rapid fire picks segment with our guest Nik Z giving us his quick prediction. So, this edition of the Women's U20 World Cup has been nothing but spectacular. And I guess the million-dollar question, Nick, who's going to be the next Alexia Putellas, who's going to be the next Alex Morgan, who's going to be the next Jenny Hermoso. I'm so excited to see these young women going for the gold here in this tournament.
Oh, without a doubt. Absolutely. I mean, these performances that we're witnessing on the day-to-day, amazing players, Brazil's Vandito, Canada's Annabelle Chukwu. I mean, these are the future of women's football. They're inspiring women all across the country, little girls, women alike. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. And not just women, by the way. I love watching it because it's absolutely unpredictable. You see teams you wouldn't usually see on the other side doing absolutely amazing. North Korea thrashing Argentina, absolutely amazing. You can't deny it.
And in our last segment, we did discuss Ballon d'Or. No Messi, no Cristiano Ronaldo. But when we talk about the women's side, Trinity Rodman, the daughter of the Worm, arguably the greatest rebounder in NBA's history, now representing the U.S. well. The U.S., by the way, losing to Spain 1-0. Spain is one of the favorites in this tournament. And I'm excited to see what goes on then again, because a lot of these girls are shaping the future of international soccer. And we've seen that in Southern California as well, for those of you based in sunny Southern California, about Angel City and what they're producing with their great players, the vibe, the ambience at BMO Stadium. I think there's a lot of what we can see and what we will see in the future with the role of women's soccer.
Oh, yeah, for sure. In this country, whether the women's U.S. national team is doing amazing or they're doing okay, you can't deny that this country is a hotbed. It is a hub for talent right now, and it's being scouted not just for our team, but others as well. I mean, you look at Mexico. Mexico are going to go head-to-head with Colombia, the hosts of the tournament. That's going to be a match to watch. They both won it. Colombia obviously have to prove themselves because they're the hosts. But, I mean, a team like Mexico, where they're getting their talent from, obviously the Mexican clubs on the women's side are amazing. Teams like Pumas have a great women's side, but they're even scouting a lot of collegiate players here in the United States. So Mexicans are finding new avenues to find amazing talent here in the United States, not just at home.
But now they're facing Colombia in this edition. They could be going for the top spot in the competition.
they're all going to be fighting tooth and nail, and it's going to be so fun to watch. And when you talk about this amazing talent being recruited from all these different pipelines, you could say, and then you see a team that I just mentioned recently coming out of nowhere, coming out of the woodwork, and that's North Korea doing so well against Argentina, right? Obviously, their talent's going to be purely homegrown through their own development programs there locally in North Korea. But that's part of what I love about this tournament. Yes, you mentioned this is the future of women's football. These are the faces that we're going to see in World Cups to come, in Olympics to come. But on the other side, I love that they're all in it. It's go big or go home. They all want it so bad, and they're all so hungry. And when you add that into the equation, anybody can take the trophy home. Anybody.
Yeah. So Mexico against Colombia coming up from the historic Estadio Atanasio Girardot in Medellin. And as promised, here are our rapid fire picks with Nik Z. Let's start with Uruguay and Paraguay.
Uruguay. Suarez, last match, he's going to go big.
Perfect. Brazil against Ecuador.
Ecuador. They're on a hot streak. They're going to capitalize.
Wow, that's an interesting one.
I just feel it. I feel it.
Let's do some MLS. Are you going Columbus or Seattle?
Oh, I was going to say Columbus before you even finish the sentence because I don't think anyone can even come close to the Crew, right?
All righty, and one more talking about contenders. Houston Dynamo and LAFC.
I'm a Galaxy fan, but I'm going to go with LAFC.
Now let's go across the pond with Switzerland and Spain.
Ooh, Switzerland's a wild card, but I'm going to go with Spain.
Croatia and Poland.
Croatia on this one.
Okay, this one's close to your heart. Denmark and Serbia.
Serbia. Serbia's going to take it for sure. No bias there. Not at all.
Okay, France and Belgium.
Oh boy, Mbappe's unstoppable right now. France for sure.
Talking about unstoppable Erling Haaland in Norway versus Austria.
He's going to take the win for him. Norway for sure.
Okay, now let's go to CONMEBOL, Colombia and Argentina.
I'm putting my money on Argentina. For sure, yeah.
And then the game of games in the U20 Women's World Cup, Mexico versus Colombia for the first place.
Colombia are the hosts, but Mexico is looking so good right now. I'm putting my money on Mexico for that match. Both got a lot to prove, though.
Alrighty, and we have one more for you. Brazil with Bendito against Canada.
She's the one. That's the keyword right there, Brazil.
Okay, so time to go, Nik Z. Thanks for being our guest.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Here on Golazo today, and this wraps up our look at the next wave of talent in the Women's U20 World Cup and our preview of the most important matches coming up this week. Keep your eyes on those games. They're going to be crucial as we move closer to the playoffs. Thanks for joining us today. And on behalf of our great production team, our guest analyst Nik Z, I am Francisco X Rivera. We'll see you next time with more insights on Golazo today here on SportsGrid. Until next time.
Buy or sell, Anthony Richardson will be a top 7 fantasy quarterback this season. We're keeping this realistic here. We know that nobody would think that he'll be in the top 3, probably not even the top 5. How about top 7, George? Buy or sell?
You know, if he stays healthy, top 5 is not out of question here at all. He's a running quarterback. We know how valuable they can be. My worry is going to be what I mentioned when we talked about the Indianapolis Colts. Boy, man, if Pittman were to go down, there's not a lot to throw. He'll be running for his life half the time there. I like Richardson a lot. Small sample size of what we saw of what he's going to be. I played the 5 games last year before the injury here. So, or a longer season, we'll see if he gets some catch up to him, what he can do. He's going to have to prove he can throw the ball. So he'll be down the field here. I'm going to buy this. All right, I want to buy on Anthony Richardson. I want him to be that guy because I want to see the excitement that he can bring. I think, you know, smart money might say go the other way because there's so many quarterbacks in that tier that, hey, he could have a good year and still not finish top 7. That being said, I think he will show, just like he did last year, he's going to be dynamic. I'm buying top 7.
Yeah, it reminds me so much of Cam Newton in the early days too. I'm going to sell on this. I think it's too high. I think most leagues take away points for interceptions. If that's the case, I think his numbers are going to be 20-something touchdowns, 15, 16-something interceptions. That's going to negate some stuff. Yes, he will run. Can he play an entire season? Still very questionable for me. I have him as the 9th best fantasy quarterback at the end of the season, just outside the top 7. So I'm going to go sell on that.